Most of the people appointed by President Bwala Tinubu have no competence, have no capacity, have no foresight.
Good morning, everyone. Now, I want you to look at this. The human brain is unique and miraculous. It works and functions optically 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, until you join APC, then it stops working. That was from Bwala, former Article's aide, Article body maker, and during that time, he was just trying to state the fact that human brains is unique and miraculous, that it works and functions optically 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Until you join APC, then it stops working. He was literally telling us that people who join APC, that their brain is not working because they saw a party and leadership that don't have the people at heart, that are sponsoring insecurity, that are destroying Nigeria, and people also go and join that political party. So Bwala, directly has already confirmed that his brain is no longer working. Yeah, that is what Bwala just confirmed, that his brain is no longer working. Maybe his brain now is working with red oil or crude oil. You understand? That kind of crude oil that they are bringing out from Bokre, not even from the real exploration. That is apart. There is a video that Bwala made after the 8 months of Tinubu administration. I want to tell Bwala congratulations because he is sincere. Bwala told us that if you give Tinubu 30 years, that Tinubu won't be able to change Nigeria, that nothing is going to change under Tinubu's administration. So that is to tell you that Bwala becoming Tinubu's aide is just about stomach infrastructure. I am not the one saying it. I will play the video for you. Bwala said, and I quote, "If you give Tinubu 30 years, he won't be able to change Nigeria." So that is to tell you that Nigeria, that there is no even hope. That the man was sincere, you understand. You see, anytime people want money, power, relevance, political influence, they compromise the truth and integrity. And that is why time with that number, I have been telling my dear, people in the geographical area they call Nigeria, that there is no sincere politician. They are being driven by their own personal selfish interest, not only about you. They know that this country won't work any longer, so everybody have to do what he has to do. So it was Bwala who told us that people in APC, that their brain stops working. It is the same Bwala that told us that if you give Tinubu 30 years, that nothing is going to work in Nigeria. Take a listen.
Most of the people appointed by President Bwala Tinubu have no competence, have no capacity, have no foresight. You see, when people talk about be patient and wait, you have to look at the time frame within which the public officer himself is expected to execute his work. The president has just been voted into a term of 4 years. He's 8 months into the term, which constitutes 31.8% of the total time that he has. He has less than 70% of the time in government. When is that going to happen? 2, when President Buhari took over in 2015, it was the same language. Nigerians patiently followed. Today, tomorrow, they finish the first term, they enter the second term. When there is a fundamental problem with policy, time is irrelevant. 30 years, it cannot work. Most economics in Nigeria, and I'm glad Mr. Onje is an economist, let him challenge it. If you look at budget, Price Water Cuba, you look at Riwani, most economics that I have listened to, the analysis on the budget of the president, with which he's expected to execute the agenda, they have faltered it flat out. Now, let me tell you this. The policy that you said you want to change. Now, for the economics, talk about long-term and short-term. Every planning has 3 stages: immediate, mid-term, and long-term. What Nigerian people are crying because of this policy direction are matters that fall within the immediate, which is called intervention. For example, when you took out fuel subsidy, Nigerian people knew that you are going to be making about 9 trillion every month just by not giving the subsidy. And the president said the reason why he was taking out the subsidy is because the subsidy had always ended in the pockets of few people. He wanted Nigerian people to feel the impact. So what happens to the 9 trillion naira? For the past 8 months that they took out the subsidy, have you seen them providing cushioning effect that impact on those consequences of those policies? Because the consequences affect transportation, it affected feeding, healthcare, it affected every facet of life. Now, apart from the 2 billion given to the governors, for which most of them gave to their cronies and people, some even brought religious inclination into it. What more has the government done that generated the impact? There are some places who apply this kind of economic model. They will tell you when you do that, because you already saved money, not you are looking for money coming, you ought to have increased the salaries of workers by, say, if for transportation, by removing subsidy, an average worker is going to spend extra 15,000 in a month. Then maybe in feeding, because of rises of items, it's going to spend extra 5,000, meaning 20. You look at other areas, you put them together, impact it into a salary. Do you need a long term to be able to do that? Secondly, they said the reason they are saving the money is so they can invest in infrastructure. In the past 8 months, tell me one infrastructure project that was laid on ground. Meanwhile, every month we're saving 9 trillion. This is in addition to the multiples of millions in naira, in pound, in dollars that have been recovered from looters and people who looted the treasury in the last administration. Tell me one program on ground that has impacted on the lives of the common people. There is no healthcare improvement in any capacity. So when you talk about long-term plan, you are talking, let's say, for example, if you are constructing a road from Lagos to Ibadan, you will say it is going to take 2 years before it will construct. I think people should see construction people on the side. Now, what about those areas for which the money has already been saved and you need to then release it to impact? In fact, even the planning and the implementation of these policies have been faulted. Let me take you to just the one of 4 days ago. They gave out subsidy to people traveling for Christmas, Lagos, blah, 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 blah. Have you seen the implementation? Less than 7% got impacted by that. A lot of people didn't get the money. Didn't get to access it. Up till the day that the implementation was to start, these same bosses and companies that are saying, we're still giving it at the already. So then will come a time where we'll interrogate implementation. But I am talking about intervention. Intervention is not a mid-term. Intervention is not a long-term. Intervention is immediate. What is the plan and the policy of the government? Meanwhile, why I say that Nigerian people are more patient than the politicians is that, meanwhile, on the part of government, look at the trip to Dubai and look at how much waste that was made. The average SUV for the lawmaker that costs about 150 or 60 million. You have 3 senators, for example, in a state. If you multiply 160 by 3 and devote this money to the 3 constituencies in that state, you can imagine how much it will go. Nobody's looking at that. The cost of government has been enlarged and increased. So we see Nigerians saying we have seen the movie before. We know where we're coming from. We want to see deliverables. We are tired of English, mathematics, economics, science, and technology. We want to see practical, doable. And the government needs to start by conducting itself. Most of the people appointed by President Bwala Tinubu have no competence, have no capacity, have no foresight.